It's time to become a demon lord and the strongest slime ever in the Tensura Minecraft mod. In today's video, I will be playing the Tensura Minecraft mod for that time I got reincarnated as a slime for the first time, showcasing the awesome abilities you can unlock in the mod, fighting all of the bosses including the secret boss Hinata, and becoming the ultimate demon slime in the central world. Let's do this. You spawn in this mod with the book that allows you to reincarnate with a random set of abilities, so I reincarnated immediately and received the skills Predator, Traveler, and Self-Regeneration. I then chose my race to be a slime and used the Morph mod to allow me to look like a slime and fit the part. I mean, how could you play a slime mod and not want to look like Rimuru Tempest? Now, as a slime, I can use the consume command to consume blocks, so I started using the command on some trees so I could make a crafting table and make some basic tools. After making a wooden pickaxe, I dove into the water so I could use the consume water command. I needed the water manipulation skill if I was going to survive the first few nights in this world, since as a slime without many abilities, I'm pretty weak for now. After spamming the command repeatedly like a madman and filling my stomach with over 5,400 water blocks, I unlocked water manipulation, which allows me to breathe underwater, move significantly faster underwater, and gave me the two abilities, Water Blade and Hydraulic Propulsion. Water Blade is a necessity for dealing with some of the stronger mobs in the beginning of this mod, and Hydraulic Propulsion allows you to move through the water at super speed, although it does use a lot of magicules, so keep that in mind. That being said though, don't do what I did in the beginning, use those magicules. The more you use them, the more you get. Don't hoard them like I did at the start of this playthrough because I was not aware that was how you got more magicules. They do come back on their own and you're going to need them. At this point, I knew I needed some armor and better tools, so I started consuming blocks at a rapid rate down into the caves. Keep in mind though, using the consume blocks tool is like having silk touch, so you'll need to put your coal and ores into a furnace or break them with a pickaxe after consuming them. I smelted some iron and made some iron armor and continued into the caves until I fell into some lava trying to consume some lapis lazuli. Luckily, the self-regeneration ability I got during my reincarnation alongside the consume lava command saved me by allowing me to regenerate enough to not die from the lava burns. I would need to consume a lot more lava though if I wanted to get the fire manipulation skill, which is an absolute must for this playthrough. So I continued in the caves and found some magic ore, but it can't be mined with wooden tools, so I made an iron pickaxe so I could grab it. I mined the rest of the raw coal I consumed earlier, made some more iron armor, and headed deeper into the cave. During my journey in the caves, I came across a giant lava pool, and this allowed me to consume lava at a much faster rate. But I managed to fall straight into the lava and started panic spamming the consume lava command, which allowed me to survive. I thought my journey was about to end right there, but luck seemed to be on my side. I used my water blade to take down some zombies above the lava pool, just in case they decided to jump down and attack me, and decided to go back to my lava consumption. Now that I knew I could take a few burns and survive, as long as I didn't stay in the lava too long, it made things way less stressful. I consumed the lava until I had over 580 lava blocks in my stomach, and I unlocked the fire manipulation skill. So now with the fire manipulation skill, I won't take fire damage, but I can also swim in lava with no worries to be had. I headed back to my crafting table and furnace to make some more iron armor and a shield, and then searched the mine for some more magic ore. I found a bunch of magic ore and some lapis, iron, and emerald too. I also bumped into Cat the Mighty, which seemed like they may have been a bit stronger than me, so I used my water blade ability to keep it away to make sure I made it out of this cave alive. It took a while to take Cat down with this ability, but it was totally worth it since they dropped some enchanted armor with some solid enchantments for this early in the playthrough. I continued in the cave and found another named mob and used the water blade to take them down too. I got even more enchanted armor to kick off this playthrough strong. I grabbed more magic ore, swam through some lava, found diamond, and headed back to the surface to go through all of my loot. I found a nearby island and started smelting my ores, but I needed a blast furnace to smelt the magic ore. So I made some diamond armor, a diamond sword, made the blast furnace, and turned my magic ores into raw magic shards, which will allow me to make magic steel ingots, a reinforced anvil, and a ton of other mod-specific weapons, armor, and more. I did manage to get enough raw magic shards to make 2 magic steel ingots, but I would need at least 4 if I wanted to make the infused crafting table, and even more than that to make these weapons. For now though, there was an otherworlder outside my base making extremely obnoxious noises and needed to die. I mean, listen to this. It made me want to rip my hair out. I tried to take down this otherworlder with my water blade, but it was way too fast and I had to go down and fight it face to face, and I narrowly survived. That otherworlder would have killed me in 3 hits, so I need to be careful around these Tensura mobs until I'm stronger. Luckily, water blade allowed me to keep most monsters at bay and did enough damage to finish them off at a distance. I even managed to kill another otherworlder with it and got the ability Spearhead, which allows you to gain abilities from fallen comrades. We'll talk about comrades a little later in the video though. Before the night ended, another otherworlder with 80 health showed up, so I built myself up using some stone and finished them off from the safety of my ledge. The next day, I decided to unload my stuff in a chest and head out. I found a different otherworlder that heals itself as you fight it. It's pretty annoying, and you pretty much can't defeat this one with water blade, so you gotta get up close and personal. Luckily, this seems to be one of the weaker ones, and it's a bit easier to beat than some of the others. As I continued on my journey through the swamp, I found an airship and climbed up it, hoping to get some good loot. I snuck around the ship, killing off the armored skeletons inside, and got some enchanted boots and some emerald, but that was about it. I can pretty much one-shot most basic Minecraft mobs now, so it seems I'm already getting a bit stronger. I continued searching for some loot and some of the structures from this mod and came across what looks like a damaged nether portal with some crying obsidian at the top of a mountain, and a chest with some gold in it too. I then started fighting a black spider and a creeper, and I managed to get the black lightning skill from killing the creeper using predator. I found a skeleton fortress not long after the rain stopped and finished them off and looted the iron, gold, and armor that they were protecting. I also found a map and decided to start heading in its direction in hopes of finding something good. On my way there, I found a terrifying looking red portal poking out of the water. I don't think I'm strong enough though for whatever that portal is yet, so I marked its location down and continued heading the direction the map was pointing. I came across a tempest serpent torturing a poor sheep, so I fried it with my black lightning from the top of a tree. This ability is amazing and will definitely come in handy against the stronger mobs from this Tensura mod. I also fought a night spider and found a tree base filled with lizardmen, but I didn't have enough magicules to name them, so I grabbed their gold and headed out. As I continued on my journey using this map, I found a suspicious cave, and after finishing off the monsters inside, I found 2 wither skulls and a Charybdis core. This is a great find this early on, but I am nowhere near ready to fight Charybdis, so I put it in my storage for later and continued going where the map was pointing. It looks like I have to be careful though, because there seems to be some strong monsters in the water lurking and ready to drag me down and end this playthrough. I continued on the path and took down an Armorsaurus with ease, and even killed the Spear Toro by baiting it onto the land. This one was a bit less intimidating than the other water demon, and I was able to take it down using my water blade. I then killed a witch in the forest, and I noticed I received a soul from killing it, and I also got the magic sense advancement. It seems you get souls from all humanoid creatures, and I'm going to need over 10,000 souls if I want to become a demon lord. I did find a tower out in the forest with a ton of booby-trapped enchantment books, but you don't outsmart the slime, so I deactivated the TNT and grabbed a few of them. There was also a tome of scrapping in the tower too, which I later find out how good of a find this was, and this would become a staple of conquering the Tensura mod. I finally managed to reach the location the map brought me, but other than some books, there wasn't much else there. I spent over 3,000 blocks trying to get to this location just to be let down. But luckily, there was a pillager outpost nearby, which meant a bunch of souls and a bunch of enchanted gear. So I finished off the pillagers until I ran into an armored skeleton Shane. Shane had over 100 health, so I was wary and hid on the top of some pillars I made to hit them safely. And I'm lucky I did, because Shane almost killed me in a single hit when I accidentally fell down. These name mobs are not to be taken lightly, so I took my time and finished it off. I killed another Spear Toto and consumed it, which let me transform into it just like the slime. So when in this form, I can swim super fast. I was also able to transform into a gigantic bat I killed earlier, and even a little bat, but for some reason, it wouldn't allow me to fly around. So I turned back into my slime form and headed out in search of more Tensura locations. I managed to come across a goblin camp not long after and named them after our Patreon subscribers, gave them some armor, and then they protected me while I slept. When I woke up, my new subordinates were guarding me alongside the children in the village as well, so I named them too. I consumed some wood with some nearby trees and started making this a home base to start my first village now that I had a few subordinates. Unfortunately, during my base building, Ace Raptor was killed by a zombie since I couldn't feed them for some reason. Luckily though, their death wasn't in vain since I did manage to get the Shadow Step skill from their death due to my Spearhead skill, which gives you skills when subordinates die. That's a lot of skills, baby. I did, however, find out that the reason I couldn't feed them and the reason the armor was glitching out was due to a glitch with the mod. Almost every time you name a few subordinates, you're gonna need to restart your game or they won't eat and can't take things from you. Even if you give them armor or weapons, it's as if they don't have them. It's a massive pain, but if you're running into this glitch, just restart your game and you'll be good to go. Now that my game was restarted and my orc family was healed up and our wall was almost done being built, I made an enchanting station, which I ended up never needing due to a crazy dungeon I find later on, which had what seemed like endless S-tier enchantments. We'll get into that later. I finally decided it was time for me and the crew to fight an otherworlder who was lurking outside of our base. But unfortunately, the healing otherworlder was a problem. Since they heal so quickly, you have to get a few strong hits in rapid succession, but because my goblins didn't hit hard enough, the knockback was enough to allow it to heal constantly. It killed all of my goblin family, and even I barely survived. I needed stronger weapons and armor, and I had to become stronger, so I headed back into the mines and grabbed some diamond and magic ore to try and finally craft that infused crafting table and the crimson lotus edge that I saw earlier. I even got the heat sense advancement from killing a cave spider that was guarding a chest with some spawner eggs, iron, emerald, and even 2 diamond pickaxes. I made multiple trips in the mine, but after going in another time, I fought a mob named Marth the Legendary. And oh, it was legend, wait for it, dairy. It dropped diamond leggings with mending and enlightenment, a diamond helmet with protection 4, enlightenment, and 6th sense, and an absolutely insane shield that had mending, unbreaking 6, vitality 7, and unbreakable. Now that I had some beastly armor, I grabbed some magic ore and headed back to camp to build up my base. These trips in and out of the mines continued for a while, resulting in a pickaxe with mending, a ton of diamond gear, ores, and enough magic ore to make 6 magic steel ingots. I can finally make the infused forging table, which let me make a ton of weapons and armor. But for now, I'm making the Crimson Lotus Edge, so I can take down some of these stronger mobs easier. I also had enough magic ore left to make the reinforced anvil. Now the reinforced anvil does need a few more items to work though. You need a smithing table underneath the anvil and some lava underneath that. So I made what I needed and went back into the mines for a bucket of lava. I also needed to place a grindstone 1 block above the reinforced anvil to work. So I made that too, and my house finally has most of the items I need to grow strong enough to take down some of the Tensura Mod's bosses. Now with my souped up armor and new Crimson Lotus Edge sword, I dove headfirst into the water and fought a spear Toto head on, and I annihilated it. I even decided to fight a second one and swim my way to a pillager ship and killed all of them for their souls. I then broke their spawner, stole their loot, and went back into the water. I then came across Sissy and took it down in only 2 swings, so it seems I'm now the master of the sea. I pillaged more ships for more souls and loot and then headed back to shore until I came across a villager town right next to a goblin camp. So I got to naming the goblins to build up my family yet again. We bonded by slaughtering a grave lizard and an otherworlder, which gave me the Severer skill, which allows you to throw a blade using magicules. But unfortunately, our bonding was destined to be cut short. A Tempest Serpent showed up and poisoned my entire family, and even though we defeated it easily, the game glitched yet again, and I couldn't feed the goblins to heal them. Because of the glitch too, they also couldn't see the food that I gave them, so almost all at once, Artemis, H-Man, Feds, and Poison died. I even restarted the game to try and save them, but Bobo died too. I guess I set their fate when I named one of them Poison. Luckily though, Alonzi, Captain, and Busty survived, so the Ruff Empire is still standing. So I set them all up with a set of iron armor to protect them. I told them to stay and wander so they wouldn't get killed exploring with me, gave them food, and I headed out to liberate a pillager camp for some more souls. I also unlocked the healer skill by killing some other worlders who were lurking inside the camp. Now at this point, I was killing every enemy across the map with ease until I got jumped by another worlder with a big hammer in the middle of the desert. They got me down to 1 heart, but I managed to make a comeback and take them down. You cannot let your guard down in this mod for a second, no matter how strong you think you are. I continued my journey across the map, searching for some more structures, grabbed some more loot, and saved a town from a witch and stole the town's waystone as payment. Grabbed some more loot from a nearby cave and named my first orc. We fought some other worlders together, but then I got an alert that Hinata was close by. Unfortunately, even though I'm fairly strong at this point, I am not strong enough to fight Hinata, who's the strongest enemy in the game and kills you in a guaranteed 7 hits. She's not a boss to mess with before becoming a demon lord. So I named a few more orcs and left before I got jumped by Hinata. I even went into a cave, fought a named mob which dropped a netherite helmet, but I had to leave ASAP because Hinata showed up there too. It's like she's stalking me. After fleeing from Hinata, I found another goblin village and started naming all of the goblins nearby. But 2 more Hinatas showed up. What is happening? So I grabbed my new family, healed them all with my healer ability, and we ran as fast as we could to get away from Hinata. We did manage to get away, and I found an underground dungeon which gave me the Catabasis advancement, and even though it was surrounded by lava and would be hard for a normal person to get down to, I'm a slime with fire manipulation. So I consumed some of the lava to let my crew come down with me, and I jumped in. Unfortunately though, I didn't wait long enough before jumping down the hole, because Jay Burnsy burned to death on the way down, followed by Munkamo and Reckless Kane. I probably should have left Spearhead equipped. Now luckily, this dungeon was insane and had some of the best enchantments and loot I've seen, and it felt like it was endless. Unbreaking 8, diamond, gold, and I even found a room filled with gold blocks, netherite scraps, and armor with mending. I found another room filled with more gold and more netherite scraps, and there was also a giant pyramid of TNT that I obviously needed to blow up. I continued looting for all the enchantments and killed all the enemies for more experience. It was finally time for my Tome of Scrapping to shine, so I used them to add Mending and Protection 8 to my armor. I then used the netherite scraps to make 2 netherite ingots and upgraded my helmet and leggings to netherite gear. I decided to be overkill and made 8 more Tome of Scrapping since the dungeon I found felt like it had endless enchantments, and I'm stubborn and didn't want to die. I also used some of the magic steel ingots to finally make a demon steel ingot and headed back into the dungeon, grabbed some more pickaxes with Unbreaking 8, Mending, and even found one with Efficiency 9. I set up everything that I wanted to use and left the dungeon. It was time to go to the spirit world, which is a weird combo of the nether and the end. So I went through the red portal of death, dug down, and fought my way through the spirit world. Stormed a fortress, killed a wither and blaze, grabbed the loot, and started hunting down the salamanders. I eventually found a bunch of them and easily took them down, and I even got the flame breath skill. I went back to the normal world and farmed Armosaurus for their scales in the Badlands, since that seems to be where they mostly spawn. I did this for like 2 hours because I wasn't aware that goblins couldn't wear armor higher than iron, and I didn't realize that orcs couldn't wear armor. So yeah, the armor is super strong, but I already had fully decked out netherite armor, so I guess I just have some materials for backup armor. While I was out there though, I did manage to find an orc lord and its army of orcs nearby, but I killed it too quickly before it had a chance to turn into an orc disaster. So I'll need to hunt down another one if I want to actually defeat it and get the demon lord seed. I headed back to my camp to make the scale mail armor for backup and then upgraded my diamond boots to netherite, so I finally have a full set of netherite armor stacked with enchantments. I also found a nice sized goblin camp, so I named them all, built a wall around the camp with a door, and took out the other worlders lurking nearby. I even got the berserker skill from one of them. I managed to find another orc lord, so this time I wouldn't make the same mistake again. In order for the orc lord to transform, it needs to kill another creature. So I went back to my new base, rallied all of the troops for battle, and headed back out. We rushed headfirst into the orc lord's army, and Sharpia was the first subordinate to go down, triggering the orc lord to transform into the orc disaster. However, almost immediately after, Petsko and Newt Newt fell too. I started attacking the orc disaster, which hit hard and had 700 health. This was going to be a challenge. Seal died next, and I set the orc disaster ablaze. Dachi and Bob were the next to fall, and with me dropping below half health, I needed to use Traveler to escape. I had to rush back over there though, because even though I got the orc disaster down to 450 health, it was starting to regenerate quickly, so I had to attack it head on. I went in swinging to make sure that my subordinates' deaths were not in vain. The orc disaster tried to retreat, but I wasn't about to let that happen, so I chased after it, finished it off, and I received the Demon Lord Seed, which would allow me to transform at 10,000 souls instead of 100,000 souls. I also got the Starved and Gluttony skills to top it off. It looks like I'm finally on track to become the next Rimuru Tempest. I headed to a nearby town, stole its waystone, and went hunting for souls. I made my way through quite a few pillager outposts and even found some magicules and another Charybdis core right next to it. I continued hunting souls until I found a skeleton base with an illusioner guarding the tower and killed it for its magic jamming skill. I continued running around the entire world, hunting souls and loot until I eventually found a massive tree with a portal to the labyrinth. There's a boss inside the labyrinth, so I placed a waystone and made more tomes of scrapping to make sure my armor had the best enchantments available to me before I fight another boss. I also decided to deck out my base in gold blocks and slime statues to try and turn my base into more of an actual home I can be proud of. I made a ton of stone, iron, gold, and even diamond slime statues. And once I had it looking the way I wanted, I headed back out and bumped into Olivia, terrorizing a village. I killed her and took the netherite helmet she was wearing and headed off to fight the Spirit Protector Colossus. I went through the portal and it teleported me to a corridor filled with unbreakable blocks. I ran to the end until I was teleported into the room with the Spirit Protector, and it was a way easier fight than I expected it to be. I actually beat the boss in less than 20 seconds. So it seems I'm a little bit stronger than I realized, and all of my mining and looting and everything seemed to be working out in my favor. After defeating the Colossus, it dropped a block of magic steel, which turns into 9 magic steel ingots, and a new portal spawned in the center of the room. So I went through it and was teleported to the spirit room. I prayed to the spirits and found out that I was chosen by the fire spirit. I then found an intelligent slime nearby and defeated it easily, but unfortunately, I didn't manage to get Great Sage. I did, however, get lucky, and Shizue was nearby. I defeated her easily and got her sword, but Ifrit showed up and it was a much harder fight. The fight with Ifrit and Shizue was totally worth it though, because after defeating Ifrit, I got a ton of skills. Combustion, ranged barrier, molecular manipulation, black thunder, and magic manipulation. I then finished off Shizue, but didn't get the special skill she gives, unfortunately. So I'll have to find another one of her at some point in the future. Unfortunately, I didn't realize one of the skills I got from Ifrit, and it set the ground ablaze whenever I sprinted. Without realizing this, I set my entire camp on fire, and by the time I logged back onto the game, the camp was in shambles. The walls burned down, the goblins' houses reduced to ash, and my own house burned down since I hadn't finished turning it all to gold. So I packed everything up and moved it over to the new camp since all of my subordinates were there anyways. I decorated the new base with my gold blocks and my slimes, and I called it a night. The next day, I killed an evil centipede, got the paralyzing breath skill, and found another Charybdis cave and some magic ores. I used gluttony to mine the ores, grabbed the Charybdis core and wither skulls, and hunted down more otherworlders for their skills. I got the oppressor skill and found another Charybdis core. I now have 3 cores, and I just need sage and degenerate so I can consume one of the cores before I fight that demon of the sky. I fought some other worlders and pillagers until I got the voluntary exile advancement, so it was time to start a raid so I can get sage from an evoker. I did luckily get the body armor skill though on my way to the village, which will help me if I ever run out of armor. I made it to a village and started the raid, and with my current power, it was extremely easy. And towards the end, I was getting a little worried that an evoker wasn't going to show up, but eventually one did, and I managed to get the sage skill. I finished the raid and headed out to get the 100 experience I need to upgrade Sage to Great Sage, which would help immensely with the fight with Hinata. So I continued hunting pillagers to earn the experience while also getting as many souls as quickly as possible, since Hinata was yet again stalking me. I traveled back to my village just to find out Hinata was nearby there too. She was closing in on me and I was running out of time to become a demon lord. She eventually jumped right into my base during a fight with an otherworlder and has completely taken over my base. I tried to teleport back to the base and she attacked me instantly. With her being able to kill anyone with only 7 hits, this is a massive problem. I mean, she got 3 hits on me in the few seconds it took me to teleport there and back. I needed to kick things into high gear and become a demon lord, defeat Charybdis, and save my village from Hinata. As I made my way around the map trying to earn experience or find slimes to kill for Great Sage, I found another Shizue and defeated her easily, finished off Ifrit, and consumed Shizue, earning Black Flame and Degenerate. I can finally fuse with the Charybdis core. I headed back to my old burnt down base and tried to fuse with the core. The first time it failed and I lost most of my health, so I waited for it to replenish and I tried again. But the second time was the charm because I got gravity manipulation, which will allow me to fly, as well as ultra speed regeneration, which would help keep me alive during the fight with Charybdis. I teleported back to my village to see if Hinata was still terrorizing the village, and not only was she there waiting for me, she was right next to the waystone and attacked me as soon as I showed up. She also started setting my village on fire, so I used the waystone to escape to another village, and this time I headed back and tried using my gravity manipulation to fly around the base and get her to leave. The flight with gravity manipulation is awesome, but Hinata refused to leave my base. I eventually fell off the cliff by mistake and boxed myself inside my home. I repaired my Crimson Lotus Edge and used my size as the slime to my advantage to sneak in and out of my base to get the materials I needed without running into Hinata. I did, in a panic though, accidentally blow a hole in the wall of my house using gluttony, but I repaired it before Hinata could attack me or jump inside. I killed another Shizue and defeated Ifrit, but this time I successfully managed to fuse with Ifrit. I continued focusing on building up my souls and experience until I found a gigantic dungeon which was filled to the brim with an immense amount of loot. It also had a few good spawners, so I decided to use my Silk Touch pickaxe to grab them for a spawner, since that seemed it would be a better and much faster method for getting the experience and souls needed to become a demon lord. I got a ton of ores, enchanted armor, building materials, and spawners from this massive dungeon. I even got some netherite ingots and gear when I made it to the top and while cleaning up some more monsters. Oh, a slime! Damn it. No Great Sage. Guess 100 levels it is. On my way to make the monster spawner, I found a trifecta of waystones, which I only included in the video because I have never seen 3 waystones this close together before, and I could not believe it. I flew around, found 2 more waystones, found another Shizue, which I defeated easily, and then started building the monster spawner. Turning into one of the blazes I consumed earlier made making the spawner a breeze. The spawner was pretty good, but it would need to be better if I wanted to get 10,000 souls a little quicker. So I took all of my wither skulls I've amassed over this playthrough and I fought off 5 wither. Once I had 5 wither stars, I used them and clocks that I made using gold to kick the spawners into high gear. Once I hit 100 experience levels from the monster spawner, I upgraded Sage to Great Sage. The rate for experience was pretty good, but I would need an even better spawner to get 10,000 souls. So I went to get the materials to make some fermented spider eyes. Luckily, in the process, I found a gigantic sky base and I couldn't ignore it, and I'm lucky that I didn't. I found a witch spawner inside, which gave me not only another soul farm, but the witches also dropped sugar and spider eyes, which would allow the farm to speed up even further. I added the new spawners, fought 2 more wither, and upgraded the spawners even further. I set up a macro on my PC to constantly attack while I went to bed, and 8 hours later, I was over 10,000 souls. Unfortunately though, I found that in order to get the Merciless skill, I had to have 1.5 times the amount of souls needed before turning into a Demon Lord in order to unlock it. So I upgraded the spawners even further, farmed for another hour and a half, and I did it. 15,000 souls and Merciless unlocked. It's time to become a Demon Lord and finish off Charybdis and Hinata. I initiated the transformation and successfully became a Demon Lord. I was finally a demon slime with spatial travel and endless regeneration. I also got a massive health boost. So I teleported to a village to sacrifice a villager with the Charybdis core and found a glitch that lowers your health when you log back onto the game. So if you're a demon slime and are spawning in with low health, use the morph mod to change into something other than a slime, then use the mimic command to change from a demon slime to something else. Then turn both back and your health should go back to normal. I don't really know why it happens, but this is the fix that I found. But now that my health was back to normal, I summoned Charybdis. I started fighting the Guardian of the Sky, but luckily it shoved me underground with its massive body. And with my new Demon Lord powers though, Charybdis could barely hurt me. So I farmed its Charybdis scales from the Megalodons it summoned to help fight. I also found that Hellflare aggroes Charybdis and forces it to come down to attack you. So if you're struggling to fight him in the sky, use Hellflare to drag it down into the caves where you can be on equal footing. After farming enough scales, I finished off the Ruler of the Skies and cleaned out the remaining Megalodons. I left the giant hole Charybdis pushed me down into, and I took the materials I got from the Charybdis fight, combined it with some pink dye and magic steel, and made the Dragon Knuckles multi-tool. They look awesome and are a great multi-tool, but my sword is still better for overall damage. But let's just be real here. This looks way cooler than carrying a shield, so I'm going to be using this most of the time. However, in terms of abilities, I needed my shield, so I put it back on to fight Hinata, equipped Berserker, Hellflare, and Merciless, and went to my old base since I knew she was lurking nearby. I carved out a small hole in the ground and built a floor and ceiling of obsidian 1 block high that only a slime could fit in. With Hinata killing any enemy with only 7 hits, this was the only way I could think to successfully kill her. Since she can teleport, I had to be somewhere that she could not teleport to, and a 1 high block area seemed to make the most sense. So I built my little 9 square floor and ceiling and antagonized her to fight me with a blast from Hellflare. I got a few hits in and took down the Ifrit she spawned, but she managed to get 1 or 2 hits in and blinded me with Ifrit's fire. I put the fire out and killed the other Ifrit she spawned, but Hinata was hiding from me for a bit until she snuck up and got another hit in. She summoned another Ifrit, but I one-shot it, and with 3 to 4 hits in, she had me worried. She got another 1 or 2 hits in, and I started to panic. Berserker makes you stronger, but it also makes you way faster, and I accidentally left the safety of my little protection hut. She hit me again, and I started running and swinging in a panic. She had 6 hits on me, and I just barely got the final hit in and defeated Hinata and got the Usurper and Mathematician skill. With my village safe and all the bosses defeated, I created all of the slime statues, finished decorating my village, had all my subordinates move in, and have successfully conquered the world of that time I got reincarnated as the slime in Minecraft.